teachers and end-of-term presents. Do you think they deserve presents? If you're a teacher, maybe you feel absolutely overwhelmed with mugs saying best teacher and smellies when you think, oh, not another bath foam, I don't want one. Or maybe you're just grateful, maybe you think it's lovely. 0207 862 2222. Do give us a ring on this. Many schools break up for summer this week. That means kids being packed off to class with presents for their teachers. But a shiny apple for the teacher may not cut it nowadays. In fact, one teacher shared a de facto gift list in The Sun. Hannah Sharma says stationery is too predictable. Teddies will just collect dust and flowers will wilt. Instead, she'd rather parents slaved away baking cookies for her, or she'd prefer to have bath sets, home decor, by which she might mean cushions or something like that, I don't know what she means, or vouchers, which is basically money by another name, isn't it? Do you resent having to buy teachers gifts in the first place? Or if you're a teacher, give me a call and tell me how you feel about them. We'd love to know. Sarah, you've got an 8-year-old, haven't you?
8-year-old, yes.
So did you and will you buy presents, end-of-term presents for the teachers?
We do, and we always have. It's always been a thing in the schools that my little boy's been to. Basically, we have the WhatsApp groups, the parents' WhatsApp groups, and someone always kindly volunteers. I haven't done it yet, I should probably do it, but always someone volunteers to do a little whip round, to do a collection, and to then buy the teachers something.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and it is, and it's great, and it's very much like if you don't want to put in, you don't have to, or it's discretional at how much you put in. So, yeah.
I think
it's like Secret Santa, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But it's quite a good idea. And it's very American. We lived in America and everybody there, teachers get a present. But very often it's a group present from the class. And as you say, if you haven't got the money or if you don't, your child particularly doesn't get on with that teacher or whatever,
there is that,
you can decide. But it's quite a nice idea to start teaching children to give.
Yeah.
Well, I remember being at junior school and the present for the teacher was terribly competitive among the parents.
Oh, really?
And my mother bought the teacher a copy of Jane Austen's Emma. But another mother bought the teacher a hostess trolley.
Wow.
It was absolutely gigantic. And another mother, and I really do remember this is absolutely true, bought the teacher a gold bracelet.
Wow.
And I had to humbly come in with this copy of Jane Austen's Emma, feeling absolutely eclipsed and terribly embarrassed. And my mother gave me such a lecture on how much you ought to prefer a great work of literature by Jane Austen and how the teacher was worth her salt. She would definitely prefer this to a really showy hostess trolley and a gold bracelet. But definitely the parents were trying to outdo each other enormously. Do you have to buy presents for the teachers?
So I walked in and saw a playground full of flowers and I wasn't quite sure what was going on. I thought it was the year 6 who were leaving, that they were handing flowers to because they're leaving the school. And it was every single student seemed to have that. And I was not prepared and didn't have it. I probably would have done it if I had thought about it or if I was in the WhatsApp groups. I try to avoid them.
Yeah, me too, sometimes.
But I think it's a nice idea, but I think it is a bit of pressure. It's a bit of pressure to give something. I like the idea of one person organising a collective vouchering or present, but I think everyone having to bring individual things, I think, felt a little bit too much.
Eve, obviously nurses and doctors don't get gifts,
No.
especially teachers.
A lot of people who do a lot for, wonderful, wonderful stuff for you, somebody who helps you through childbirth, as you say, or whatever, they don't get presents. It's a very, as I say, I think it's a very American idea that's come over here. I think it's a nice idea to teach kids, or maybe get kids to do a drawing, or kids to write what they think of the teacher, or make
Poor old
something.
teacher having to take home 30 drawings that they don't really want. Let's ask an ex-teacher, because I'm delighted to say Caroline in East Sussex is an ex-teacher and has just decided to call. So glad you called, Caroline. Give it to us from the teacher's perspective, please.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, goodness me. And of course, your dear daughter, Vanessa, is in the profession, I understand.
She is, and the mug collection, best teacher, my favourite teacher. God, I've got loads of mugs of hers saying favourite teacher, because there are so many mugs. The mug thing is almost an epidemic, isn't it?
It is, it can be. But when I was teaching, I've retired from that now, although I'm still in education. But when I was teaching and lecturing, what a lot of people don't know, including the parents, the very well-intentioned parents, they don't realise you take a lot of work home, you're actually doing a huge amount of training. Very often you're non-contact time with the students, you're working, researching and doing admin. So a lot of it is actually not seen. But I think teachers are quite incredible at being quite self-effacing. They're quite good at actually being self-deprecating, and they don't recognise what they're doing as extra unpaid work. They're very good at that because, some people say, quite rightly, maybe it's a vocation.
All right, but let's get to the present part, because you've just done an excellent PR for teachers. We all love teachers anyway, as you just said. One of my daughters is a teacher, absolutely. We love teachers, we appreciate them. But tell me about the presents. What did you get and what did you think of what you got?
So I used to get chocolates, which wasn't helpful because, I was always watching my weight. I also used to get, as you've quoted already, Vanessa, I used to get things like beautiful bath sets, smellies and perfume. But I would get the most beautiful cards, very often without the present attached. And sometimes the class would have a collection, or the students or the adults would have a collection, and I'd be privileged enough to have maybe a coffee with the students or a night out if I was lucky enough and got permission. So there was always the gratuitous, ending of the term, the ending of the exams, whatever it might be, the ending of the show, if they were doing a show. There was always something to celebrate, which I recognised. So it could be that was accepted, but I would always ask permission if I was allowed to take the pet present, because obviously that was a matter of discretion at the time that I was working. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't necessarily do that now, possibly, but I would always go to the head or my manager, my line manager, and double check if I was actually allowed to take.
I thought you were just going to say to me, that you're still using up all the bath foam that you got in 1974. And you've got cushions saying best teacher that don't match your sofa that you've never liked, but you haven't had the heart to give away. And then you've got all these crayon drawings. You didn't know whether you needed to stick them on the fridge. And I thought you were going to say, everybody stop it. It's fine. We do our job. We don't need any presents. Save your money or spend them on ice cream for the summer holidays.
Actually, no, I think teachers do need these presents because often we take them for granted. We don't recognise the amount of work they do away. And why not let that child or let that adult feel empowered if they want to show, as a gesture, their appreciation of the work that's done?
All right, Caroline, thank you very much. And thank you for calling. Let's talk to Grace in London. Hi, Grace. How are you?
Bless, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Now, Grace phones my radio show. She used to phone me at the BBC. Sometimes she phones me at LBC. And now she's here on Channel 5, which is lovely. Grace, I wish you a very, very lovely day. Tell me about giving teachers presents.
I think that we forget, especially when we're children, that there are kids elsewhere in our world who can't access school because of really severe poverty, who are desperate to go to school. And then when we're children here in Britain, we just think, oh, this is a drag. And we forget how fortunate we are. So one of the things I think about this situation with giving presents to teachers, in addition to having a family member who's a teacher who works incredibly hard, and indeed they have to do an awful lot of work at home, preparing lessons and marking work, I think it's good to encourage young people to remember that we're fortunate to have education, to encourage kids to think, even if they don't like school, that it is actually a privilege that we can go to school and that teachers work hard to enable that. So I think to raise children to have gratitude for what they have is a positive thing, especially in an environment now where often kids are surrounded by messages to just tell them to want more for themselves and to take everything as a given. I think it's healthy for them to be encouraged to be thanking teachers and thanking people who provide other services for them.
So politeness, you think, really is of the essence here, and gratitude. Grace, thank you very much indeed.